Xbox responds to the Series X alleged overheating issues, and Phil Spencer sits down with GameStop to discuss Halo Infinite, Elden Ring, and everything else in between. Welcome everybody and thank you for joining me. So let's start off with the Xbox Series X heating, or should I say vaping issues. For those of you who might be unaware, right after the launch of the Xbox Series X, a bunch of videos popped up online of the console appearing to overheat. You can see in the video a bunch of smoke coming out at the top vent of the Series X. Well, the internet detectives was on the case immediately and quickly discovered that it was people blowing vape smoke into the side vent. This prompted Xbox to release the following statement, which I found quite amusing. "We can't believe we have to say this, but please don't blow vape smoke into your Xbox Series X." Now look, new hardware is bound to have issues. With the internet, those issues will be highlighted more than ever, but as of right now there does not seem to be any widespread issues. But let's move on, because Phil Spencer had another interview with GameStop where they spoke about a number of interesting topics. To start off the interviewer asked Phil Spencer about the identity of Xbox, which is an interesting insight to have. This is something that I'm also very curious about. With the launch of the Xbox One, it seems that their identity was going to be entertainment, TV, and everything else except for gaming. So it is important to know that Xbox won't be making that mistake again. But Phil Spencer responded to the question by stating the following: "We think about Xbox more as an ecosystem, as a platform across many screens, and that can be confusing because it is different and it's beholden on us to explain what that means and why it's good for the player. It can't just be good for us, it also has to be good for the players. So that's work for us to continue to do. So on an external side, I think there is still a journey for us." Now obviously Phil Spencer has made it clear that they will be focusing a lot more on the ecosystem instead of just the hardware sales, and that means being able to access your games even if you do not own a console, either through the PC or mobile. And then the interviewer asked Phil Spencer about the launch lineup of the Xbox Series X and S, because let's be honest, at the moment there is not much to talk about. He goes on to say that he would have loved for Halo Infinite to be a launch title for the Series X, but there will still be plenty to play. He mentions Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Watch Dogs Legion, which will look and run best on the Xbox Series X, but then he goes on to say the following: "We are going to be sold out of consoles come launch day, and that doesn't make me happy. I wish we had more consoles. I wish we could supply all of the demand that will be out there. So I think from a PR standpoint it would be nice because people could write about a couple of good games." And here Phil Spencer is referring to the fact that they do not have any new first party titles available at launch. But then he goes on to say, "From a business standpoint, I'm not overly worried about it, and frankly when those games will come out, I think it will be a good opportunity for the console when we're really in a more competitive battle, because there are consoles from us and Sony on the shelf." So you mentioned it, Game Pass is the thing that I really think differs our platform right now. We've got 15 million subscribers doing incredibly well, a great collection of games from many partners. Our launch games go day and date, so like Gears Tactics, those games people haven't played before can go and play. I feel really good about the investment in Game Pass and how that stands up against any competitive offering that is out there. And that is a point that I've also made in my previous video. Game Pass is really the selling point right now. Those big titles for Xbox will be coming and all of them will be on Game Pass, but for those who cannot afford $70 per game, there will be plenty to play on Game Pass, and they will also optimize a bunch of their first party games to ensure that you get that true next generation experience. And then the interviewer asked Phil Spencer about Halo Infinite and where it stands as a franchise, and if it is still the juggernaut that it was on the Xbox 360. Phil Spencer starts off by mentioning how well Master Chief Collections has done on PC, and then he goes on to say the following: "That said, there is a lot more big franchises now in gaming than there were back when Halo 2 and 3 launched, and I think that is a good thing for our industry and a good thing for Xbox. The fact that we can have a diversity of franchises and what those means. So I don't think a platform has to define, or we get to define, who's your iconic character on our platform. I think that you are our iconic character on our platform. It is not any one of our individual franchises. I think that's a strength, but we have a ton of belief in Halo and 343 and where we are going. I've played quite a bit of Infinite and I'm looking forward to the other people getting to play gameplay. The interviewer also asked Phil Spencer about Elden Ring. This is an eagerly anticipated game. Phil Spencer said that they have played quite a bit of the game, but he then goes on to say, I can't tell much other than that. As somebody who have played a lot of Miyazaki's games over the last decade, this is clearly the most ambitious game that he has ever done. I mean, I love his games, but seeing some of the gameplay mechanic stuff that he and his team are tackling this time, of the settings, working with other creators in terms of story, I love it. I love seeing him challenging himself. He's a good friend of mine, expanding his horizons, and I think that is a really good thing. Now the interview goes into a lot more detail about services and Halo Infinite and many more things. I will put a link down in the description, please go and check it out. The interview is in video form and it's definitely worth a listen. But on that note, this is where I'm going to end it. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you would like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing, and as always, please remember to stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and I hope to see you again soon.